and welcome to Magical Herbalism 101. We were supposed to do this yesterday, but we postponed it, so we're doing it today. This is one of my favorite subjects because I love herbal magic. I love herbs. I actually took a herbalism course, so part of my stuff that I have to say is going to be medicinal, and part of it is going to be magical. So, yeah, and it was, I don't know, I love it. As you see, I have a bit of a collection over here. Most of the stuff is actually from my personal collection. I just made it available at the shop too because it was sitting in my cupboard doing nothing. I have to, I buy it because I make herbal teas and I make incenses and, I like to keep it around. I have a very interesting little cupboard. It tends to contain all these things and, I'll do stuff. Well, I'll wildcraft a lot of it. I don't wildcraft all of it. Right? So, yeah. And I figured, well, I might as well make some of it available for sale because other people might want it too. And this way it's not just taking up room in my cupboard. It's going to use, so. Alright, so, to start with, most of the stuff that you need for magical herbalism will be in your kitchen. Probably it's spices that you already have. It might even be growing as weeds, a lot of weeds. You can grow a herb garden, and it's actually pretty easy to do. And I'll talk about some of that too, right? But you can, it's, a lot of it is weeds that grow naturally around. I happen to be in the Okanagan Valley in BC, Vernon, BC, so my talk about what grows naturally around here will have to do with what's local to this area. So, if you happen to be, some miracle in Arizona and you're watching the tape, right? You're not gonna find the same things, obviously. So, I'll start with a couple of recommended books. These are the two books that I think everybody should get who is a witch and wants to do magical herbalism stuff. This is a nice, handy, easy-to-follow reference guide, Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs is its full title. Right? And it's a much-loved author, Scott Cunningham, who is no longer with us, unfortunately. But he does a lot of these kind of books. He does something called Incense, Oils, and Brews, which I'm also very fond of, and I used it to make different incense recipes, and it started me on that whole process. I also make my own incenses here. So. And then this one is a really good one for identifying stuff. The Reader's Digest, Magic and Medicine of Plants. My doctor actually has a copy of this on his bookshelf because, he's the kind of guy, I don't know, he's open-minded to that sort of thing. Obviously, doctors may not be. So, this is also a nice book, but it can be difficult to follow. This is by Ellen Everett Hopman, and you sort of have to know something about herbs before you dig into it. And it's called The Druid's Herbal. But she's got some very interesting traditional uses of herbs in this book, and I like it as well. So, yeah, my reference library. So there's my recommended reading. I'm pretty sure I put these two in the list here, but I didn't put this one, so yeah. And I may refer back to it as I go, well, what the hell was I talking about? So let's see. Let's start with what kind of basic herbs, right, would be a good idea to start with, I think. That would, I don't know, do you guys think that would be a good subject to start with? Okay. I generally find it's better to grow them yourself if you can, because they're fresher. And then you gather them at the right time of year. There's a whole traditional process about gathering herbs. It's thought that gathering them right before midsummer is supposed to increase their magical potency. But depending on what it is you're gathering, this is something I learned from my herbal course, whether it's roots or leaves or buds or flowers, the time of year is relevant. For instance, roots are best harvested in the spring and fall and not in the summer. Right? Summer's good for leaves, and when they first fresh bloom is good for flowers. So, right, those are some basic things to keep in mind.
So it's best if you're going to be planting some herbs for yourself to choose the right time of year.
Yeah, and the right cycle of the moon, actually, is also important. Do it in a waxing moon, don't do it in a waning moon. Any gardening book will tell you that, the waning moon is for taking away and reducing. If you're weeding, that's a good time to do that, or pruning, right? It's also a good time for transplanting, though. So if you go to the farmer's market and you pick up, some culinary sage in one of those little plastic boxes, right? Yeah, wait till the moon is turned and it's starting to wane before you plant it, because technically that's transplanting.
Right. So the magical properties would be stronger if you did it at the right time.
I tend to think so, yeah. And I know it's generally better for their growth and their actual properties, what they, actual. Magical is actual, but, they're medicinal properties if you're
Right.
using them for that purpose.
Okay.
Okay, so what did I start with? I started with rosemary, lavender, and sage. And yeah, those are the three basic ones. They tend to be pretty easy to grow. Once you've planted them, they're perennials. They come back year after year after year without any work.
Would they do so in a pot? I've planted rosemary in a pot.
Potentially. It depends on your grow area and how cold the winter gets. Rosemary is, I think, might be a 6 or 7 on that code thing, right? And here we're sort of somewhere between 5 and 6.
Right.
So if we have a really cold winter, it'll die. I actually did lose a rosemary one year for that reason.
So just cover it really well.
Yep.
And keep it as
Keep
warm
it
as
warm.
possible.
If it's in a pot, keep it close to your house, because the residual heat from the house will probably help preserve it. Another reason why these things